Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to episode 41 of the E-Heroes podcast. Today I have Mario Fachini with me, and he's a pro smiler and a client acquisition specialist. And so I want to welcome Mario, and before we got on the show, I said, your specialty is smiling and mine's not, and that's okay. Everybody has their pros and cons. I'm more of a sarcastic guy, and people look at me and they're like, "Go away, go away." But you smile, and that's your superpower.
Well, I appreciate that. It's actually funny how that got started. And for as much as you've been saying you don't smile, you've been laughing and cracking up quite a bit this last little bit. So, you know, don't tell anyone. Okay, I won't then.
So, how do you get started in this client acquisition? I mean, what's that all about? I mean, I know what it's about, but let's entertain the audience.
All right, I like gay entertainment. So, when it comes to business, there are so many people that say, I want to build my business, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I was just talking with a couple of my guests the other day, and so many people out there are great at what they do. They're the best at what they do. They have this tremendous skill set, and might say, I want to start a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. But the skill set alone is not a business. They just want to sit there and have clients fall in their lap and just take care of them, which is fantastic. Because there's some people who really don't care about the business; they just want the transaction, and I don't like those people. But you have to think about it like client acquisition, like actual big companies do, whether you're a small company, medium sized, large company. So, one of my favorite things to do is get people interested in their metrics, the monies in the metrics. Because you could go, well, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. And it's like, well, what is your profit margin?
Mm-hmm.
What's your cost of acquisition? What's this? What's that? And so many people don't know. And it's just simply looking at your numbers, putting a value on your time. There's other people that their rebuttal and excuse is, well, I'm not doing SEO or conversions or this, that, the other thing, where it's all online based and it's easy to see the numbers. They go, well, my business is different. Yeah, sure,
Mm-hmm.
they're all the same. And it's the owner's not paying attention to this, and this, and it's fun to help them work through that because they go, well, I don't do it this way. I do A, B, C, and D. And I go, well, what's your time worth? They go, well, what do you mean? I go, well, this is taking you 45 minutes here. This is an hour and a half. This is here. And they have a 5 to 10, 15, 20-hour customer acquisition cycle
Mm-hmm.
without realizing it, but they're saving money on advertising.
Yeah.
So there's different schools of thought as how people run it. But if you look at any large company, they know their numbers, they know their metrics, they know exactly what they're doing. They're not just putting stuff out on social media for no reason. So I like working with clients and getting them on track with these things, improving all of it. In addition to, the fun stuff, I mean, I think it's all fun, but there's different ways that different companies can benefit from having assets. They're not all the same. So whenever anyone thinks there's this one size fits all magic bullet, there's not. And you really need to get in there working with them one on one. And I love people. That's why I started it. And it's the biggest leverage I knew of to get them the results, not just, oh, look, there's a new logo or something. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all about the creativity. And clearly, I don't have a aversion to color. But at the end of the day, if we're talking business, it's about results. And that's what I like getting from my clients.
I liked how you said the money's in the metrics. But I think sometimes, even with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and some of the social networks, people get hung up on the insights. The bells and whistles that come in with their Facebook page or their Twitter analytics, and they look at that and say, "Well, wait a minute. My target audience doesn't match up to where I want it to be. I'm supposed to be serving, clients that are 35 to 45 and go to the gym and do this, but the people that are actually coming to my page don't work out. They're, 104 years old and they knit for a living. And I think people get confused that, because they're not targeting the right metric.
I would agree. And on the double side of the coin is, and this is why you really need to know what you're doing, and it's not a magic bullet, because as important as the conversions are, the analytics, the metrics, because the money is in the metrics, you also have to realize there's people. These are not just random numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You increased and there's even 50 new people checking you out. These are 50 people you can have information in their life that you can help. So I take an approach of, we need to know the metrics, but also who are these people? Let's dive in and go, are you even talking to your ideal customer? Is this your client you want to work with for 5 or 10 years? Would you talk to them outside of business? Because these are all real things you need to consider that so many people they're either one school of thought or the other. And the reality is you need to be able to bridge the gap and have both of them in there because they're telling you what they want. But are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
Most are.
No, and most entrepreneurs don't listen to the advice that they're giving from the consultants that they hire. And the consultants your strength is serving this demographic. So why are you serving everything that calls you? And then the entrepreneur doesn't understand that that's what they've always done. That's how their competitors are doing it. And, but then they realize they're not making any money because they're serving the wrong demographic.
Yeah, the most powerful thing I remember learning was it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Mm-hmm.
100 grand a year and owe 150, and that's a bad place. You could also do 100 grand a month and owe 20, and that's a lot better. Know the numbers to realize this. Otherwise, you can go as fast as you want. Hey, everything looks like it's going great, and it's like every day you keep doing this, it's costing you another $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Right. So,
and all it takes is a pen and paper to go, hey, let's just talk through this. I personally like to grab lunch or dinner and just talk through it, have a conversation, go, tell me about this, just keep talking.
mm-hmm.
I process it. Everything to me is like a puzzle and I rearrange it. It's fun for me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
tell me all your problems here. Okay, here's the solution.
Yeah,
Everyone knows it inherently. They just never take a minute or two. I'm too busy. I have to do this. I'm too busy. I have to do this. You're shooting yourself in the foot every day. You need to stop. Forget that. It's not leading your company.
Well, the other day I looked at the hours that I put in doing what I do, the podcast, writing books, creating content, the list goes on and on. Everything that I do for my client, I looked at and went, I could actually condense all these hours down, to about 2 or 3 a day if I highly focused and I gave the stuff that I really don't want to do out to my employees. And then I just opened up my whole day to freedom. And, entrepreneurs are like, well, no, I have to be busy. Is busy making you money? Or is busy giving you freedom? That's what you became an entrepreneur for, right? Freedom. But they can't think on those terms. They think that, working 80 hours a week is freedom.
You need to be productive. Actually, oh my God, so like you've been inefficient and you don't know how to block your calendar. And is it just this week or is it like every year? And it's, oh no, it's just this week, because of insert here. But when they've done it last August, November, January 10th, April, and then called me in May, it's real easy to tell.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to not make them feel bad for it and not necessarily shame them because no one's perfect. I mean, it took me a long time. My natural state is not focusing on spreadsheets and stuff. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So to even sit down for an hour and focus was like crazy. So I trained myself to do that. But that's the fun thing about a business is you can do whatever you want and just discipline yourself to go, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I might just go off the rails 5 days a week, but those 2 days, I'm knocking it out of the park and I'm getting more done in that 48 hours than most people do in, 90 or 100.
Yeah, I mean,
busy.
Yesterday I say, well, I'm gonna not check Facebook. I'm not gonna do any of this. I'm just gonna stay focused. I wrote 5 blog articles. I created emails for the whole month. I just went down. I'm like, wow, I was on fire. Why don't I do this every day? And the problem is we want to be connected. We love these things. They put us, in the world of thousands of people, but a Facebook list doesn't mean that you're making any money. So I like that the saying, that, well, I don't like it, but I'm going to use this as an example. The money is in the list. I could have a list of 10,000 people, but if I'm not working that list, I'm not making any money. And that list, the other day, a guy says, well, I have a list of 100,000 emails that I bought 5 years ago that I want to use on a campaign. I said, throw them away. And they're like, what do you mean throw them away? I said, first of all, they're probably not any good. I said, it's 5 years ago, and you probably bought the list, so it's a cold list. They don't even care about you. So the moment you throw them out, the moment you broadcast to them, you get labeled as a spammer. He said, yeah, but maybe I sell something. Why don't you get a warmer list? Even if it's 200 names, you're going to make more money on those 200 names because it's a warm list versus, and they don't get it. They think that the more numbers you have, the better.
It is so easy now. I remember when I started, it was yellow pages, and there was no. All of the social media stuff was in its infancy, so there was
Right?
no going on LinkedIn going, I want CEO of this business in this
Mm-hmm.
industry in this radius. Bam, here's. You can generate lists just like that. And what I tell everyone, if that was truly the situation, you could just think of people you can reach out and go, you know what? I know about probably 20, 30 people that have businesses that you already have an existing relationship. All you got to do is find a way to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Go to complete John Q randos, and now you have to build that trust and everything up, and then, sell them on the idea that it's just so much more work. Like, who
Mm-hmm.
are 5 people in your cell phone right now that have businesses that I guarantee you there's some sort of problem they have. There isn't anyone I've met that's like everything is groovy every day, all the time.
Right.
I think we'd be hearing a lot about that seminar if it was really the truth. But it's just, I've been telling people just be respectful, always add value.
I found that early on when I joined Facebook, I guess it was 10 years ago, the more I helped somebody, I didn't even sell them on anything. Just the more I connected them to somebody else, the more sales I would make in my own company. And it wasn't the fact that I was, looking for people to help. When the need came up, I would say, hey, you know what? I think that this person can help you. I would connect them. And that's what social media is really about, is connecting. But people then started, using it as a way to dump their marketing and force feed people on their MLMs, and Facebook became a sandbox to kick sand into other people's face, and it wasn't enjoyable anymore. So I came out with social media books that I wrote, and it helped people understand the concept of what they should and shouldn't do. But there again, then only a fraction of the people want to read anymore. They want instant gratification. They want, they figure, hey, we got this World Wide Web that provides us with information 2 seconds after we put. Great. But they don't know how to use the tool in the way it was really created.
Yeah, it's always astonishing to me because I like reading about Rockefeller and Ford and all the people who built the country, basically. And I'm going, can you imagine if we could drop them in present day with everything we have access to? They managed to pull some of this stuff off with like nothing.
Right.
Now, granted, you could argue there's less regulation, this, that, the other thing, but at the same point, there's also less resources to be able to do this. Now did they even have phones back then? I was like, now you can pick up your phone, and you sure as heck didn't have a supercomputer in your pocket.
Right.
But now it's to the point where it's crippling, like you're saying, because now if you can't hit a button, it's like, oh my gosh, this thing involves work.
Mm-hmm.
I do this for like 3 days in a row. I don't know if I got time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so put your life on repeat. Don't live the same year 75 times and call it a life.
Right. But that kind of leads to your new book, and I know that we do a lot of the same things. We talked about that before we got on the show. I do more of I amplify people's authority. I'm an authority broadcaster, is what I call myself. But you have this book. It's called Expert Authority Effect. So let's talk about that, because I think that is something that most entrepreneurs need to know about.
What I did was distill everything that was working for my clients over the years. Worked with hundreds of companies, helped thousands of them, and I like systems. I like automation. I like making stuff easy because then we can get back to having fun. But stuff has to get done.
Right.
And I started analyzing what was going on, and there was a few keys that always it was like tied and true, whatever.
Hmm.
Certain things that always worked,
Right.
and I simply put it into the 7 steps. And the first one is attention. You need to be able to get attention, because if you can't get attention, you're not going to be able to make the sale. And if you don't make the sale, you can't really help them because they're not really listening to you.
Hmm.
So, in my first book, Video Marketing for Business Owners, one of my quotes that I came up with was, to your point of everyone wants to feel connected, everyone wants to be on social, doing all these different things. And I was just sitting there writing it, and I go, let's flip this. Instead of trying to get everyone's attention, why not be so captivating you can't look away?
Hmm.
Everyone's looking for the silver object, the shiny ball, whatever you want to call it, of the week. And it's like, why don't you just become the best at what you do? And then people are constantly talking about you. The people that get gold medals in the Olympics, that rise to the highest things with athleticism, musician, singing, all of that. It's not because they're kicking it with a stick. It's because they become the best and then everyone recognizes them. You still need attention though, even if you are the best. So on the flip side, I use the example of restaurants because I love food. And I can say you could have the best steak in the world, but if you never tell anyone about it, how are they going to know to go to your restaurant? Moreover, once they're there, there's still 50 things on the menu. How do you get them to get that one?
Hmm.
You have to be out there without a doubt, and too many people shy away from it. So attention, and you have to do it from an authoritative position. If you're just another generalist that's out there, me too, it's not going to work. So attention, authority, you need to build the connection, associate with them. If you can't build that connection, you're not going to be able to advise them.
Hmm.
If you can't advise them, you can't really help them. And so these are the steps that you have to go through: attention, authority, associate, ad, ad, actuate. The next one is actuate. If so, now you're the authority, you're giving them the advice, but if you can't get them to move on it,
Hmm.
you could be the best person in the world. They know that you can help them. There's all kinds of things. You're awesome, but they're going to think about it.
Hmm.
Not good. Not good. So you have to actuate and get them to move. Then you have to automate it, because you don't want to keep just taking all those hours in the day doing the same thing. But it's so easy to automate stuff now. And there's so few people who do. They're still treating it like it's 50 years ago, like you have to be calling 100,000 people a day. Like, to your point with the email list,
Hmm.
let's go mass spam everyone, 10,000 names and numbers. Well, I'm not spamming them. Oh, it's because you're putting it on Facebook and it's not considered spam, it's email. Either way, you're still annoying them. You
Hmm.
can have client attraction systems that are on automatic, automate that, use your referrals, use your customer testimonials, and just have the thing going out there. You don't need to sit there every day going, look at me, look at me. Just
Hmm.
be the best, do the best, get actual results for your clients, and then use their testimonials. People will see it. People will see it. The last one is advertise. Again, everything changes with social media, but at the end of the day, you can always pay to get impressions.
Hmm.
400 years ago when TV came out, I know it's not accurate. 400 years ago when TV came out, there was radio before that. There's always some sort of medium that will be available
Right.
to get your message out to the market.
Hmm.
It's changed over the years, but it's exactly the same. You want to get impressions, you want to get in front of more people, you need to have a message, you need to know who you're talking to, and you have to have, I would encourage you to have a system so when people go, should I go buy from A, B, or C? it's the clear choice. They should do business with you regardless of the price of anyone else. Because the other,
I, I think it's very important that they get their face out there. Do these videos, do interviews, do podcasts, do whatever you have to do, and it's not going to be easy. My first 100 videos probably sucked. I know they did. But you look at that and you're going, oh man, do I sound like that? Do I look like that? Well, I'm fat. And you come up with all these lame things, but your audience doesn't care. They want to hear the message. They want to get to know you, get to trust you, get to, see how you act. And once you get past your own insecurities about the videos, you're going to be a pro.
it's interesting you bring that up because I count it as my very first video because I was already doing public speaking and audiences aren't really a big deal. And, as far as freaking out in front of them, I love audiences. I love people, love
Mm-hmm.
speaking in front of them. So I was on camera prior to that, but doing my first video, as far as it's just me, I'm in front of this studio setup. I have to, get this message clear and concise. And it was like a production. It wasn't someone's filming me while I'm in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget because I was thinking about it the other day. I have 73 takes of the video. And I remember because it was an Independence Day message, and everyone kept texting and emailing me and calling. They're like, "Are you done yet? Did you, because I'm supposed to?" And I was like, I set a goal. It was supposed to be like a 5 or 10 minute video. It ended up taking hours, and I'm like, I got to get this message out because America's the greatest and freedom is important and all these things. And at one point, I'm like, if you don't like this, I hear that China's accepting residency, and it was very like. By the time I think I was so agitated that it took so long, I was just like, if you want to get deported, I'll give you the permission slip right here. And it's hilarious. And I actually watched it the other day and I'm going, I wonder if I should just send that out just as a, hey, don't really worry about it or redo it. So I was on the fence.
I would send it out as a blooper reel. I think people would really get a kick out of it.
It took 73 takes to get that one. And that one was from 2012.
Wow.
And I just encourage people to do the same thing. Get out there, get the message out. Who cares if it's perfect? Just keep doing it.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing.
Interviews, my first 10 shows, like I was telling you for the podcast, I think I did a good job, but then the next 10, I realized I was getting better, and the next 10, and the next. So now I'm basically the first 50. I knew things I could improve. People say they like them, but I'm noticing a difference. You just get out there, you do it, and get better at it, and don't.
Yeah, I welcomed Facebook Live because when I got on, if I made mistakes, I made mistakes. It wasn't perfect. It reminded me that I was human. And the funny thing is, people trusted me better because I wasn't polished. It was raw. It was emotional. It was real. And people are so used to commercials where everything has to be perfect. Well, I don't have time for 73 takes. I want to get this video done in 5 minutes and go home or do whatever. And so, live video to me is great because I can just get my message out there and go about my business and make it fun and entertaining. And people are like, yeah, that's great. I'm going to share it out. I think Rob's cool. Or if they don't like me, they just, unfriend me. But, my friends list continues to grow. And so I think I'm making some people happy, I guess.
You definitely are, because I've seen your content over the years, and you do have great content. And that's the thing I like about Facebook Live, or just doing anything live now. Facebook's the only destination, but it's just a matter of when you're trying to do it perfect, you might breathe wrong and be like, no, I got to do it again. I got to do it. And it's like, this isn't working. Click. We're live now. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm just going to roll with it because I know there's no going back.
Right.
I was choking one time on an episode, everything's going smooth, sound check, audio check, all this, getting ready to interview my guest. And I'm like, okay, we're good. You're in the green room, this and that. And I hit it and I was like, hey, we're just checking out here, dude. We're going to have a great show. I grabbed the water real casually and I was live choking on it. I'm like, all right, hope you got some entertainment value out of that. We're just going to let him talk. And don't worry about it. Just stuff's going to happen. Roll with it. Have fun. Don't recommend starting with that in episode 1, but if it happens, just
get Heimlich on your first show.
I recommend doing a live show. Well, it depends. Do you want to choke and die on it or not?
The ratings were through the roof. So, how do the listeners get a hold of you? Where do they go? Did they find you on Facebook, a website?
You can find me at Mario Fachini and all of those. The best place to get more information is eainterviews.com.
eainterviews.com. How many interviews have you done?
I just did 89 the other day.
In one day? Or that was
most I've done in a week is 9.
Wow.
All live, all on video.
Yeah,
I remember trying to get through the first 10 and it was just one more. And now I look back and it's like, yeah, I'm like cranking out 2-3 a day now.
Yeah.
On the days I film, because I do not do it 7 days a week as far as filming goes.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that you pick a couple days to be in studio and just crank out what you want.
Yeah, and it's same with the podcast. I'll record a couple of them and then schedule them out because I don't have time to constantly be in front of the computer. As I told you, I'm starting to gain a little bit of weight. Being in front of the computer, sitting down, I got to get out there and I got to exercise. I got to have some fun. I got to remember what the freedom that I wanted was all about. So get out there and enjoy the summer or the beach, the mountains. And I think that's what every entrepreneur should be shooting for is some goal beyond being in front of social media constantly.
And the cool thing is you can film from anywhere now. I just recently did a shoot for another client with my crew. We went to their location in his dental practice and
nice.
Filmed a bunch of videos, and it's super professional, looked really great and everything. Conversely, you can also grab your phone from the mountains or my favorites from the lake or on the boat or something. And it's so amazing we have these capabilities. Even 4 or 5 years ago, my friend from San Francisco was on the boat in the middle of the lake, Skyping her. And just like, hey, what are you up to? I was like spinning the camera around and everything. And it's like, this would have taken a lot of time, energy, and money even 10 years prior. This wasn't even possible.
And to go back to Ford and Rockefeller, if they were dropped off in today's day and age, would they be able to make it? Would they be able to use the technology of today to build their empire again? And it's hard to say because they were so ingrained in not having technology, that they ended up being billionaires. But now you got Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, and they rely on technology every single day, and they're billions of dollars.
Yeah, I was joking with a friend the other day. I get a lot of stuff from Amazon for the show, and it's cool now that you can see, oh, you're 9 stops away, 8 stops away, 6. I was like, hey, want to go chase the Amazon? It's not like it's going to arrive today, sometime between 3 and 5 p.m. or 5 and 9 or whatever. It's like we legit can go trace them.
Yeah. I think they do that because they don't want your packages stolen anymore. And I actually wrote an article for an attorney all about what happens when you try to steal someone's Amazon package and you get hurt on their yard. It's like, yeah, you can sue the person now. I'm like, really? I'm a thief trying to steal your Amazon package. I get hurt on your property, but I can sue you for getting hurt. What is this world coming to?
Have you ever seen the glitter bomb video?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, where the camera's in there and the thief bombs the whole car with glitter. Oh, that would tick me off.
But that's the thing. There's people out there that are that intelligent to mechanically engineer
Mm-hmm.
something like that. It's like we have endless possibilities out there of what's possible. There's
Mm-hmm.
no lack of resources or anything. It's a matter of, do we want to do it and put in the effort or not?
Right, and that's what it all comes down to. Is we have technology, which is great. As an entrepreneur, you should be able to use all this stuff as a tool. That's what it is, a tool. But just like with any tool, you have to learn how to use it correctly, and it takes time. Just because someone says, "Well, get on social media, get on the World Wide Web, and instantly you're going to be a millionaire." That's not how it works. You got to put in the time, the effort, and sometimes a little bit of money to make sure that your dreams come true. They don't want to do it.
It's definitely worth it, though. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, but this is why you're an e-hero, because you take the time to help other entrepreneurs become successful. And so I thank you for being on the show, and anybody out there that's listening, please go to Mario's websites, go to his Facebook, become his friend. And you said that the website is eainterviews.com.
That's correct, yes.
So there you go, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next eHeroes podcast.